As a child, you would wait and watch from far away, but you always knew that you'd be the one that worked while they all played. And you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things that you would change, but it was just a dream. From dust. From dust. As a child, you would wait and watch from far away, but you always knew that you'd be the one that worked while they all played. And you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things that you would change, but it was just a dream. a child, you would wait and watch from far away, but you always knew that you'd be the one that would while they all play. And you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things that you would change, but it was just a dream. From dust. From dust. As a child, you would wait and watch from far away, but you always knew that you'd be the one that would while they all play. And you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things that you would change, but it was just a dream.
I'm the shit, use your throne as my toilet seat. I demand a king's ransom for royalties. I deserve a mansion, I'm royalty. Address me, your majesty. To form a new dynasty. The old one was dynasty. I am your highness, please. Address me, your majesty. Urban black spit, black fisted Mozart. Green for the souls of the old lost. Gather round, we can all watch the throne fall. And you king has ascended a ghost, y'all. Crown me in majesty, oh Lord. Majesty, oh Lord. Oh Lord. Instant classic, this classical gold art. Urban black spin, black fisted Mozart. Stay cool, the North King must be colder. Exhale, now I look like a smoker. They hail me as king, but when hell freezes over, well, I reign supreme, and that's hell on your shoulder. Raindrop feel like a boulder. Drown in a pool of your cold blood. Suffocate dumb kings, nothing in lungs. Hold your breath, I'm the heir to the kingdom. All the stars and galaxies address me as your majesty. So better say your majesty, I might react erratically. Throw you in the fire, purifier, I'm the sire. My empire's on the rise, or better find yourself a place to hide. Your grace is fine, but say it twice, my name divine, I'm aiming high. Don't look in my face or eyes, take a bow and save your life. Glory to the emperor, my temperature is rising. Oh, his highness getting violent, I need silence, I need silence. Green for the souls of the old lost. Gather round, we can all watch the throne fall. When you king has ascended a ghost, y'all. Crown me in majesty, oh Lord. Majesty, oh Lord. Oh Lord. Instant classic, this classical gold art. Urban black spin, black fisted Mozart. I'm the shit, use your throne as my toilet seat. I demand a king's ransom for royalty. I deserve a mansion, I'm royalty. Address me in majesty. To form a new dynasty. The old one was dynasty. I am your highness, please. Address me in majesty. Instant classic, this classical gold art. Urban black spit, black fisted Mozart. souls of the old lost. Gather round, we can all watch the throne fall. And you king has ascended a ghost, y'all. Crown me in majesty, oh Lord. Majesty, oh Lord. Oh Lord. Instant classic, this classical road art. Urban black spin, blacklisted Mozart. Stay cool, the North King must be colder. Exhale, now I look like a smoker. They hail me as king, but when hell freezes over, will I reign supreme and that's hell on your shoulder. Raindrop feel like a boulder. Drown in a pool of your cold blood. Suffocate dumb kings, nothing in lungs. Hold your breath, I'm the heir to the kingdom. All the stars and galaxies address me as your majesty. So better say your majesty, I might react erratically. Throw you in the fire, purify your
from dust.
It's a beautiful day here in Australia at Mount Panorama. This is the second preseason test race for the J2i Road Series Sprint. We've got a great one lined up for you guys today. Mount Panorama Circuit, a nice 20 degrees Celsius, a cool day here at Bathurst. Two 30-minute sprints lined up for you today. On this, a 6.14 kilometer circuit, long straightaways combined with a winding section up and down the mountain. You're in for a real treat. These GT3 cars are a hell of a lot of fun to take around this circuit. So these drivers will be pushing them to their absolute limits today. Qualifying has just started down on the track, so let's jump down there and see who is where we have going on. Right now, let's see, is anybody actually on there? Doesn't look like anybody has completed their outlap. Still waiting for these cars to come around. Meantime, let's check up on who all is out on the track. Looking in at MBR Beaver right here, and it does look like he is first on a lap. 55 seconds into this one. Going up around turns 9 and 10 now as he approaches Skyline. Definitely the most dramatic part of the track right here. Skyline, the tightest part of the track. You have that very tight chicane right there. Very tough. The walls are up against you all the way around. We'll go on board with him now so you can get an idea of what this is like. Comes down off the mountain onto the straight, longest straight on the track, though the other straight, the front straight, is almost as long. Come down into 20, go fairly hard on the brakes for turns 21 and then 22. Those curbs pretty tall. Have one more corner to go. It's a left-hander, 90-degree Murray's corner, the 23rd corner on the circuit. That finishes his lap. He'll be the first to set a time here, and looks like it's coming across as a 2:04.6. Dan comes in 0.9 seconds behind him. Best times up here. Now Cannon Racer comes in with a 2:06.6. Then the Stig is next. Bay also qualifying. And Bob is about to come around and set his first lap. This is Black Bob, not Bob Nova. 333 car. His time is a 2:06.2. So no one getting anywhere close to Beaver's time. A long circuit. So 2 minutes, lots of places to gain time, lose time. You'll see the times be a little bit more spread out as Tonlo goes fastest here. He dominated the GTE class in the previous preseason endurance race. Here, dominating his qualifying thus far, 0.3 of a second ahead of NBR's time. Doesn't look like anyone else has set a time close to what the leaders have done. Just in case you need a little reminder of what's going on at the bottom of the screen, you're looking at the drivers closest to the finish line in left to right order. So Littleton's about to come around and finish his lap. Those green bars mean they have set their fastest time in that sector. A yellow bar means they did not set a personal best in that sector. And a purple bar means they went faster than anybody else has on the track thus far. That sector. So you see this time Beaver's about to put in fastest on the track through sector 1, but the rest of the sectors he didn't even beat personal best. So he most likely will not set a fast lap here. He's going to come across the line, and that is going to read a 2:04.9. 0.3 off his time, 0.6 off the leader. Stig coming across the line. He's actually going in. It's pulling off right there. He will not finish that lap. Looks like AJ is about to finish what will be his first lap. Time is a 2:05.9. That sends him up into 5th. Another thing to remember, if the drivers get collect any sort of incident on the laps, going off track, touching a wall, the lap time will be invalidated. So if at any point we see something cross the start finish and the lap time just doesn't update, it's most likely because they did invalidate that lap at some point. Erko about to come across the line now. Second lap. Around Murray's corner. He was a personal best in the last few sectors, and he does go a little bit faster. Gets himself up into the 7th position. Still 7.5 minutes through qualifying. 7.5 minutes to go. Lots of time left. That is at least 3 laps worth of time, maybe 4, depending on when you start that last lap. Looks like Erko actually has a little bit of damage there. Could slow him down on the straights. Littleton is about to come back around. He's had a mixed lap, some good sectors, some bad ones. Let's see if he improves on his 2:05.7. Doesn't need much to get ahead of Dan. Looks like he dropped a 2:06.6, so he's not going to move. Biker Pilot and Nicolator have both just dropped laps. That was Nicolator's first lap. 206.5 puts him 11th. So now we're looking at Bay on the track. He is the furthest along the track. We'll follow along with him right now. Got just a couple corners to go here before he finishes this lap up. And he's got 3 good sectors, 2 bad ones. Let's see how this last sector wraps up. Improving on that 6-1, he needs 0.2 of a second to pass AJ and move into the top 5. Has crossed the line, waiting to see what that time is. It was a bad last sector, but it's still enough to get him past AJ, 1/10 behind Littleton. Is up. Black Bob just came across the line again, and he improves, jumping over 3 drivers, and he's up into the top 5. Erko now about to come around for his next lap. He had that damage on his car. Let's see if it slowed him down. He's had 5 good sectors, so perhaps not. Round Murray's corner. He has a chance to jump a lot of people here with just a couple of tenths improvement. And he does jump all 4 people within a couple of tenths of him into 4th position, and he is now only 4/100ths of a second behind Dan. Littleton about to set another lap here. Comes across the line. Does he improve? Yes, he is now up into the top 3. A great 205.3. Still the only 2 drivers into the 204s. Tonlo and Beaver. They have not improved on their times. In fact, it doesn't look like they have time in a while. Nicolator does not improve on his time. He just finished the lap. Dan is about to come back around, but this lap's not looking fantastic. All bad sectors. Finishing the final one up across the line. He needs 0.2 to pass Littleton. That was an improvement by 1/10, but not enough. Conlo is back on the track, and he has 2 purple sectors, so we could be about to see a blazing lap from this 04 Lamborghini. Going through the first 2 of the last 3 corners here. Round Murray's corner. You got a mix of good, bad, and great sectors here. Let's see what he has coming across the line. Trying to put pole completely out of reach. And he gets into the 203s. Tonlo, your provisional pole sitter. Far ahead of everyone else on the circuit. You see him go off track there. That'll probably invalidate his next lap. He might just park it here. And yes, he is parking it. That'll probably do it. Not sure he really has a reason to improve on that time. Littleton is the furthest down the track now as he comes down the back straight into the final sector. He would have to improve by over 0.7 of a second in order to get past Beaver. Quite a big ask, but not impossible. This lap hasn't looked great, however. Around the final corner, across the line, and that time is going to register as a 206 flat, 0.7 off of even improving his own time. Looks like this quali board is getting close to set. Nicolator just came across the line. See if that time got improved. He did improve it slightly, it looks like, but not enough to move him on the leaderboard. Beaver is out for another lap, but his first two sectors not so good. Second 2, all right. He has a chance to improve here, but 0.8 of a second improvement is quite a big ask. We'll keep the focus on Beaver and be right back here in preparation for gridding here at Mount Panorama. We are back here at Mount Panorama. Qualifying is set. So we're about to take a look at the grid here in preparation for the first sprint. Conlo leads us off with a fantastic 2:03.8. Obviously the man to beat here. Then you have Beaver, Littleton, Dan, and Erko rounding out the top 5. Then you have Black Bob, Bay, AJ, The Stig, and Bob Nova finishing up the top 10. Cannon Racer, Nicolator, Plane, Biker Pilot, Artups, Nick Johnson, Costello, and Slug. Those last 3 drivers did not qualify. They did not qualify. They actually come to grid here. Looking at weather conditions, it's still 20 degrees Celsius. Very cool. Lots of grip going to be on the track. 69% humidity. Still cloudy in some parts of the circuit. Other parts of the circuit are sunny, so you might see different grip levels depending on where we're at on the track. Lots of wind, 23 kilometers an hour. You could see that affect the drivers, especially as they rates. Safety car is about to lead these cars off the grid. So we'll get right to it. Short pace lap. So we're coming on around just the last 3 corners on the circuit. These drivers don't have much time to get heat in the tires, don't have much time to get heat in the brakes. The safety car is off. And we are green here at Mount Panorama. Tonlo leads them off. Beaver has a pretty good start, but I believe, yes, he is still alongside Tonlo. Back behind them, Dan and Littleton side by side. Tonlo comes out with the lead. Beaver behind. Dan in 3rd. Littleton gets shuffled back to 4th. Then it's Erko and Black Bob side by side down the straightaway. Look at this. Beaver right on the tail end of Tonlo, and now they're going to go side by side heading up into Griffin's Bend. Tonlo defending the inside. Beaver going to try and cross him over here. Backs out, and I don't think he's going to do it. Dan has come up to both of them, and now he's going to be challenging Beaver for 2nd here. Right on his tail. Coming around the cutting. They are all right on top of each other. Tonlo, a fantastic job defending right there. He manages to hold on to the lead. And it looks like we were all clean through there. No crashes so far. They're around into turn 10, and now we're coming up into Skyline. Conlo leading the pack right now as they come down through the dipper. Easily the most dangerous part of the track. Beaver's still sticking right with him, and Dan is close behind. And now they're coming down the back stretch. Can Beaver get a nice little draft coming up here? Oh, he's right on top of him as they come into the chase. Around turn 21. He's still not going to be able to get him. So Tonlo, a momentous first lap. He will hold on to the lead, at least for now. Let's go back through the pack here a little bit. We have the battle for 6th going on here. Bay just 0.4 of a second ahead of the Stig. The battle for 9th is pretty tight. It's Bob Nova right there in the 31 car. The Nicolator behind him, and Black Bob very close behind. Let's jump back to the battle for the lead. Beaver will have the draft on Tonlo coming into turn 2. He's not going to be able to make a move here. It'll be interesting to see. You might see coming down these straightaways the differences in these drivers' setups. Some drivers will have gone for the low downforce setup, getting as much speed out of these long straightaways as possible. Other drivers will have gone for a high downforce. They'll be slow down the straights, not able to really take advantage of the slipstream, but they will be able to get through the mountain section with a quickness. We had a couple cars off track and off pace. Looks like Canyon Racer and Mike Costello had incidents. That has benefited Slug, who started in 17th, is now up to 14th. Coming through the dipper now, Tonlo still ahead of Beaver. Let's see, we're checking in on the battle for 4th. This is Littleton and Erko. Erko right on Littleton's rear end there. Very dangerous part of the track. We're going to jump on board with Erko here in a second. See what seen from his view as he tries to chase down Littleton. You can see he's not really gaining on Littleton all that much down the straight. He could be running a high downforce setup like we talked about before. Just one of those things where it's one of those tracks where you really see a difference in how these cars are set up and makes it really exciting because different drivers are going to be faster in different areas of the track. We're going to jump out of Erko's car and go to the battle for 9th position. Bob is still defending this position from Nicolator here. Nicolator in the purple and green Mercedes, just behind Bob's bright blue Ferrari there. Come off of turn 1, and he will have the slipstream. Will he make a move? Where's he going to go? Where's Bob going to defend? He's holding the middle of the track. He's making the car as wide as he possibly can, and now Nick's going to go for the inside. Side by side, and Nick's going to have to back out. Great job by Bob making his car as wide as possible down the straightaway. That is the closest battle on the track. Biker Pilot just took 13th from Artups. Meanwhile, Tonlo and Beaver are putting a gap on the rest of the field. 2.5 seconds from Beaver to Dan. Go through Skyline and then the dipper. Look at the elevation change. That is a great angle. Really shows you how crazy the change is for these drivers and what they go through in that section of the track. Let's jump to the closest battle on track right now. We have Bay and the Stig. And actually, we're going to take a moment to check up on McLean because it looked like he has just crashed. He is sitting in the pit lane. Let's see what happened to McLean. Looks like he's going down into the dipper. Oh, he just catches a bump, gets loose, and completely destroys the front end of that BMW. Really unfortunate to see. So that's going to knock him out of this sprint. That's okay. We have another one. 24 minutes left in this sprint. And it should be mentioned that the second sprint, the top 12 finishers of this sprint will be inverted to set the starting grid. So Tonlo, if Tonlo does finish first, he will be starting 12th in the next sprint, and so on down the board. Let's see if Beaver can get a slipstream down the straight here. Doesn't look like he's going to be close enough as they come up onto Griffin's Bend. No, but he's doing a great job of hanging in right behind Tonlo, not letting the pressure abate at any point. And not only are we seeing possible differences between setups here, but also cars. The Huracan, very different from the McLaren. You see their strengths and weaknesses as they go around the track here. Now we're looking at the battle for 4th. Erko is right on top of Littleton. Still hasn't found a way around him yet. I'm surprised we aren't seeing more passes down the straightaways. Might be indicative of a lot of high downforce setups that these drivers are using here. Come down through the dipper. Erko still just behind Littleton. You got a good run out of there, but see, this is the part of the track where you can't really pass. And that's why the straightaways are so key. This part of the track is so tight, you really want to tuck in and not cause, you really do not want to cause a problem going through that section unless you are absolutely desperate. Completely and utterly desperate. Tonlo and Beaver just came to the end of the straight, and looks like Beaver did not get around Tonlo there. Erico right up on Littleton's bumper. He's looking right here, but Littleton does go for a defensive line. A bit compromised. Let's see if Erico can take advantage. Doesn't look like he can. And now we have another car that has crashed. Looks like Slugnificent has slipped to 17th and has had to tow. Looks like a couple of cars have gone off track. So let's go back and see what happened here. Go into the dipper. He's going to catch the same bump. Oh, he just whips it to the left a little bit. Has to correct it. Still okay. Oh, I thought he had saved it. And then he just hadn't. That was really close. And actually, he had already pitted before that. He had gone off track before that. So let's go back and see what originally happened to him. It had to pit. Oh, he already had damage here as well. So, rough day for that 690. Looks like he is out of this sprint for the time being. Something has happened to Erico now. He is no longer behind Littleton, so we're now going to jump to that replay and see what happened. He had lost a little bit of ground on Littleton coming down the straight. I think that we're looking at the straight here. Something must happen here in Griffin's Bend. Oh, he just goes straight on. Oh, another equipment failure for Erico, and he is gone. He had an equipment failure during the first preseason race, and now he has an equipment failure in this one. The bad luck continues for him. Team's gonna have to be looking at that car and see what happened, because that is a dangerous crash. You don't want to see that happening to anybody. So those couple of crashes do thin the field out a bit. Conlo and Beaver still very close to each other. Coming down the back stretch, Beaver 0.3 of a second back. It's been really the same the last few laps. They're running neck and neck here. Look at the lap times these guys are running. They're just going back and forth. Lap 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at the differences. Less than 0.2 of a second every time. Now Beaver's right on his bumper as they come out of the final corner. If he gets a good run off of 2, he will have a chance here. The Stig and Bay. This is the battle for 5th. Side by side down the front stretch. Who's going to get it coming into turn 1? Can Bay get the get the crossover here? He has a good run. Stig blocks him left, and he will defend left. It's going to be Bay on the right side, heading up into Griffin's Bend. That's that Mercedes power going past the Lamborghini. And oh, he backs out, and it looks like he's going to have to cede the position. No, the Stig goes wide, letting Bay back in, and they are still side by side, and now he finally tucks in back behind Bay. A great defense of his position. He lost it for a moment, but back into 5th goes the number 28 Mercedes. Looks like Artups is now in the pits. Let's take a moment and see what happened to him here. You see, he already has damage. And, oh, this is the same spot that Slug went off. And whatever had originally caused him damage, like, is gonna just take him in pits there. Another car down in this sprint, and now there aren't that many cars left running outside of that coveted top 12. So it's not too hard to get into those inverted positions now. Cannon Racer is the driver on the outside looking in. Meanwhile, Mike Costello in 12th would jump into 1st to start the next sprint if he finishes. Now in the regular season, there will be equal points available for both sprints. So whether you finish, you can't really sandbag is the point. You can't finish 12th to start in a good position in the final race, because equal points in both. You're just driving to try and finish the best you can. both spots. Checking back in on this battle for 5th, and oh no, the stick goes around out of the last corner. And he's going to have to park it right there and tow. Let's take a look at what happened here. Wow. Coming off the last corner. He may just get on the power. Does he touch the curb? No, it looks like he's already sliding before he hits the curb. He corrects it to the right. Just snaps left. Big impact. Very lucky for the driver behind him. I believe that's AJ. Not hit him. Look at how close that is. Wow. So AJ moves up into 6th after that. And it looks like Beaver has gotten past Tonlo now. He leads us going into Skyline. Let's go back and see how this pass for the lead happened. They were side by side going down the straights. He finally got the slipstream to work. And going into Griffin's Bend, does Tonlo just kind of back out here? Oh, he tries to hold it. But that is very difficult to do. There's not a whole lot of grip on the left side of the track there. That is Beaver into 1st place. Now he's put nearly a half a second gap between him and Tonlo. We'll see if Beaver was the faster car. We'll see just how even these two are right here. The great equalizer, of course, is that slipstream. No matter how fast you go through the mountain section, you are fairly close in pace. The slipstream will kind of equalize the car behind in range. Looks like Bob Nova just passed Black Bob for P7, and that was because Black Bob had an incident. Take a look and see what happened to the 333. Oh, a little too fast there, and all the way around into the wall. That is a high-speed crash. Still going. He has not pulled into the pits yet, by the looks of things, but lots of damage to the front end of that Lambo. Battle for 11th. This is Costello and Cannon Racer. Costello has a lot of damage on the front end of that Mercedes from an earlier incident. So Cannon might be a little bit faster down the straights. Looking for a way around right now. Now the last corner. Let's go on board with Cannon Racer here. Side by side, coming up into turn number 2. Can he get the crossover? Oh, not exactly. Can't finish the move, and he will have to stay 12th. Which is not an awful place to be. You're still within those inverted positions. Can very well take advantage of that in the second heat. Leaders coming down the back stretch. Tonlo looking to the right side of Beaver. What a brave move, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off. Man, if I'm Beaver, that definitely scared me a little. Around the last corner, it looks like this battle's going to go on for the rest of this race. I mean, we just crossed the halfway point of this sprint, and these guys are still going back and forth. Checking back in on that battle for 11th. Costello has just put a good bit of distance between him and Cannon Racer. They're about to come down the back stretch. Cannon has a good run. He might have him here. See where he goes to block. Gonna hold the right side. That is the outside line heading into the soft chicane. And oh, they're gonna be side by side heading into it. Cannon Racer breaks early, and Costello cuts him off, holds on to the position. Jumping back to the battle for the lead. You guys are still neck and neck through the mountain section. We'll go on board with Beaver here, actually, through the mountain section. Take a look at just how much of a challenge this section really is. With the gyro cam. And he got through that section very quickly compared to Tonlo. Puts a half-second gap on him. That's the largest he's had coming down this straightaway thus far in this race. But Tonlo gains a tenth of it back just from the slipstream alone. Definitely a little bit faster coming down those straights than Beaver. Beaver never really got those runs when he was behind Tonlo. The field has spread out quite a bit here at Mount Panorama. See on the track map. Got positions 1 and 2 next to each other, and a little train of 3, 4, 5, and 6. And something has happened to Costello, and that has allowed Cannon Racer to get by him. In fact, it looks like it happened just after Cannon passed him. So let's jump in and take a look at what happened here. Side by side, that looks like they've come out of Griffin's Bend. They're heading up into the mountain. Turn 3. Whoa! Loses it under braking for turn 4. It is a tough spot. You're already turning left just slightly. Oh, and he gets stuck there for a little bit. He's still running 12th, so still within those inverted positions. But now the Stig is only 12 seconds behind him. Focusing on this battle because it is still the closest one on the track by far. Looks like now Cannon Racer has crashed. After all that work he has done to get past Costello, he is now wrecked on the first corner of the track. So here he is coming across the start-finish line. Into turn 1. Looks like he's lost it. He overcooked it into the corner. Take the walk of shame here. Still holding on to the 11th position. Let's see. Costello has now entered the pits. So the Stig inherits 12th place. 14.5 seconds behind Cannon Racer. Tonlo to the inside on the final corner. Beaver really pinned him to the apex there. He was not able to get a good run off of the corner and gets stuck back in second position. Doesn't look like got a great run off of turn 1 either. Slipstream still... oh no, that's quite a distance between them. Not going to get to beat before they get to 2. Let's check in. Oh, Bob Nova just had a little moment. Back in 7th position. A little bit of time here. Catches a curb. Whoa! That's a whole lot of curb and a great save. Fantastic save by Bob Nova in that number 31. Let's go. Man, we got to look at this one more time. I can't believe how much speed he maintained coming back out onto the track there. McPlane has now had an issue. He was running in 13th, or I'm sorry, 14th. Yes, he was running in 13th, and now he has crashed and has slipped into the pits. This will be the second crash of the day. He destroyed the front end of this car earlier. Oh, big hit there. Slide all the way down the track. Oh, and big hit in the rear too, and that'll do it for his day most likely. All right, assuming once these guys get up to turn 2, they're going through the mountain section, we will go through the rest of the field. Tonlo had a little look-see there going into 21, but wasn't able to do anything and ended up losing a lot of time because of it. You can see Tonlo's attempting a couple of desperate moves here that move into 21, move into turn 1 as well. Both a little ill-advised, losing ground coming out of those corners. Continues to hold about a 4/10 of a second lead. Tonlo trying to get a really good run out of turn 1 here. Don't think he has done it. Still quite a distance between those two. Well, let's go through the rest of the field. Of course, we have Beaver and Tonlo in 1 and 2, but let's talk about some of these other guys. Ever since the top 2 checked out, Dan has held a very convincing 3rd position. Has some damage to the right front of that Ferrari. Not sure where that came from, but he has not really been challenged for this 3rd position thus far. Behind him, it's Jeremy Littleton in the 619, also a Ferrari. He also has not really moved from his position since Erco crashed out. Just behind him, Bay. Bay's not been able to get much ground gained on thus far. Then you have AJ shortly behind them. He's mostly gained through positions through the mistakes of others, but that's not really an issue on the track. That's really sort of the point of the track. People are going to make a ton of mistakes, and surviving will alone net you quite a few positions. Oh no, something has happened to Tonlo. Tonlo is into the wall, and Beaver is now uncontested for the lead. They were close to each other going through the mountain section. We'll have to go back and see what happened to Tonlo. Doesn't look like he has any serious damage, but now he has some work to do. He could gain a couple positions here, but wow, what a disaster. Let's take a look and see what happened. They're going to go down into Dipper. Oh, and he hits that bump, gets a little loose, brushes the wall, and then spins around. That is disaster. Let's go on board with Tonlo through this. That bump in the middle of that apex is so dangerous. And then he tries to get on the gas too early, I believe, and catches the grass left side. Then he's having to get out of the way. People come by here. Look at how dangerous this gets. Knows other cars are coming. Just has to be prepared for it. So now he sits 1.4 seconds behind Bay. And AJ has had an issue. That has knocked Bob Nova up into 6th. Let's check up on AJ here. Was running in 6th at the time. This is going into the final corner on the circuit. Oh, he hits too much curb. Right into the wall. Destroys the front end of that car. And we have had one more crash in the interim. Cannon Racer has crashed, and it looks like AJ has crashed again on his way to the pits. So we're going to check up what happened to Cannon Racer real quick. Going to lose the back end right there. Not too dangerous of a wreck. We're going to jump to AJ's second wreck here. This may be a false alarm. Or maybe his engine blows. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, he just parks it. So AJ out of the sprint, but he is, at the moment, still in 12th. And he is coming out of the pits. So he might still be a part of the inverted field. And yes, he's even past the Stig now. So Beaver now completely uncontested. And we'll go back through a little bit more of the field, talk about them. Bob Nova done a great job today keeping it clean. Had that great save earlier in the race. And capitalized on those mistakes to get to position. Black Bob has done a lot of damage to that Huracan, but has still managed to hold 7th position, not had to pit. And Tonlo has just passed Bay, coming out of the final corner to slide up into 4th. Now, with 2.5 minutes left, there are 2 laps to go. He has a 3-second gap to Littleton. Not sure if he's going to be able to close that one. So Tonlo most likely is stuck in 4th for the moment. We'll go back to the rest of the field. You're looking at Black Bob there. Check up on Nicolator. Has some damage to the front left of that Mercedes. Hasn't had too much pace throughout the day. Has been kind of stuck in midfield. Just behind him, Biker Pilot. Heavy wing damage to the rear of that Porsche. That's not going to be good for your speeds going down the straights. Been pretty quiet throughout this race and a little off the pace. Let's see everyone's best lap times at the moment. So you see Beaver far and away best lap time of 4:02. Absolutely wild. That is faster than his qualifying time. Then you see some of these guys. See Biker Pilot way off the pace with his best time, but he's in 9th because he's kept it mostly clean. So it just goes to show how track claims so many lives, and just surviving it half the battle. And of course, we've been focusing on them a little bit. Cannon Racer, AJ, and Stig are 10th, 11th, and 12th. That rounds out the guys that are currently within the inverted grid for the second sprint. With Plains on the outside, and he's currently sitting in the pits, most likely out. Costello, Erco, Tups, Slug, they all had incidents and knocked out of the race. They are out of the inverted field. They start the second sprint. They will be starting in the position they are at now. Let's jump to Littleton here. He's 1.1 seconds back from Dan. Hasn't really been gaining. But Tonlo is 2.1 seconds back. And remember what I said earlier about there being 2 laps left. There were actually 3 laps left at the time. We are just now... Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the final lap. So I'm not sure Tonlo's going to be able to close that now 2.2 second gap. I don't think Littleton's closing this 1.1 second gap. Gained a little bit there. Lost it back. And of course, Dan is 17 seconds off of Beaver. Beaver with just a dominating performance here. And really just completely unquestioned. Especially after Tonlo's crash. But even after he had passed Tonlo. Tonlo had a couple of decent challenges. But for the most part, Beaver was keeping about a half a second gap between the two of them. He's coming down the back stretch now. And just 3 corners to go before he claims victory in the first sprint race here at Mount Panorama. Coming up to Murray's Corner. The number 10 NDSU sponsored McLaren for Nick Beaver comes home to win the first sprint at Bathurst. And an 18-second gap means we're going to have to be waiting just a little bit to see the next driver come across the line. Here comes Dan into the final corner. A solid race, no mistakes. And he is rewarded with a 2nd place finish. Littleton 3rd, Tonlo 4th, Bay comes 5th. Now we go a little bit further back into the field. It's Bob Nova coming around the final corner to secure 6th place. A solid drive. He will start 6th in the middle of the inverted field. Can be a very dangerous place to be, most certainly. Now we have Black Bob. His car is battered, bruised, halfway destroyed, but he drags it home to a 7th place finish. Behind him, it's Nicolator in the purple and green Mercedes. The number 5 crosses the line to finish 8th. Now we have to wait a little bit longer to see the rest of these guys. Biker Pilot coming off the second to last corner. And he's going to come around Murray's Corner to finish in 9th. putting him third in the inverted grid for the second sprint. And now we're going to look at who's going to be on your front row for the second sprint. Cannon Racer into Murray's corner with a 10th place finish. He will secure the second spot on the second row. AJ will come across the line in 11th. And the Stig has already finished, setting up your grid for the second sprint. We will have a 10-minute warm-up in between sprints here. So we will take a short break here at Mount Panorama. When we come back, another 30-minute sprint, but this time the top 12 inverted, chaos abound, almost certainly chaos. We will return shortly here at J2i. And we're back here at Bathurst. Warm-up has finished for the final sprint. Let's take a look at the grid for that sprint. The Stig will line up in first, AJ next to him in second, then it's Cannon Racer, Biker Pilot, Nicolator, and Black Bob. That's your top 6. And remember, the mountain section, very hard to pass in. If one of these guys, if the inverted field, someone gets a little too eager trying to pass someone, oh, we've got a problem in those tight sections. Bob, Bay, Conlow, and Littleton finish up the top 10. Then it's Dan, Beaver, McLean, Costello, Horner, Artups, and Slug finishing out the field. Checking up on the status of the track, temperature has climbed just slightly, humidity's dropped, it's still cloudy, still windy, very similar conditions to last time. Let's jump in. Wait for the green flag. The safety car is leading us away. We have the Stig in the Huracan Lambo. Looks like it's sponsored by Michigan Engineering. On the right side, that is AJ in the blue and white Mercedes. The safety car is away. Stig will lead us off. 30 more minutes of racing starts now here at Mount Panorama Circuit. We are green flag. The Stig with not a very good start. AJ side by side with him going into turn 1. Behind them it's Cannon Racer. Nicolator's up into 4th position. Then it's Biker Pilot and Black Bob. Bay and Tonlow have had an incident in the back. Bay is going to have to peel off the track, and that slows Tonlow up quite a bit. The Stig and AJ side by side going into turn number 2. And the Stig holds on to the lead. Nicolator right behind Cannon Racer here, going up into the mountain section. It's going to be tight. That crash, it looks like it was Bay, Tonlow, and Dan who were involved, had some damage. We will go back and look at that in a few minutes. For now, we're focused in on what is happening up on the mountain. The Stig, AJ, Cannon Racer, Nicolator, Biker Pilot. That is your top 5 right now. We're going to check in on Beaver right behind Littleton here, coming up through the mountain section and down into Skyline. Look at how close these cars are right now. This is crazy. You got some really fast drivers stuck in the back, and they really can't do anything trying to get around these cars through the mountain section. Going to cause some crazy scenarios here. And Beaver get around him here. He's got the slipstream going left. They are side by side. Just ahead of them, Bob Nova gets past Black Bob coming down the straightaway, and Beaver is going to finish off this pass on Littleton for the 8th position. The Stig has pulled a 0.7 of a second gap ahead of AJ. Nicolator has gotten around Cannon Racer and hops into 3rd position coming down the front stretch. Biker Pilot close behind them. And it looks like McLean has also gotten around Black Bob. He now moves up into the 9th position. So it's the Stig, AJ, and Nicolator, your top 3. Beaver is down in 7th. Tonlow down in 12th, but he is still very much a part of the pack right now. Once they get up into the mountain section, we'll go back and take a look at that crash on lap 1 and see what happened. Now we're going to go back and see if Dan started this. Let's see who started this. Coming off the start, got Bay in the black Mercedes on the left, Tonlow on the right. Dan is all the way back there. Oh, it looks like it was Littleton clipping Bay, and it stacks up Tonlow and Dan. Let's see if we can get this from another camera angle here. Going from the chopper cam. Bay, right there. See, Littleton is in the middle. Oh, Tonlo squeezes him into Bay. He really just shouldn't have been there, but Tonlo definitely did not see him coming. Flips Bay, and Bay just parks it right in front of Tonlo and Dan, and he's just holding the brakes. Nothing he could really do there. Now we come back, and Tonlo has had another issue, actually. And he now has heavy damage to the front right side of that Huracan. Let's see what's happened to him here. He's following the rest of the field, going through the mountain section. Oh, and there's trouble ahead of him. It's Black Bob, and that throws him off. He just does a little spin. Bob Nova has now passed by. Oh no! Beaver is around. And he manages oh no, now Bob Nova and Biker Pilot are off track. Absolute chaos here. They're trying to rejoin safely. Tons of traffic. And Biker's gonna back out of that. Wow. Okay, so Beaver spins around. Biker and Bob go off track. What happens here? This is absolute chaos. Let's go back here. We need to go a little bit further back. Coming down into the final chicane. Oh, he just gets clipped by Biker Pilot. Does a smooth 360. That is actually really impressive. And then Biker Pilot and Bob Nova go off. And that is amazing, honestly. What a spin and recovery. Let's take one more look at this. We have to. Keeps it off the wall. I don't know how this car does not touch the wall. Comes right back onto the pavement and guns it. Wow. That is impressive. A Biker Pilot running 11th. Beaver is still in 6th after all of that. His car was pointed completely backwards, and he is challenging Littleton for 5th, going into Skyline. He does it. Into the dipper. Littleton completely backs out and lets him have it, so Beaver up into 5th position. Stig still holds a 1.1 second lead ahead of AJ. 6 minutes into this one, 24 minutes left. Then you have Nicolator and Cannon Racer. They haven't made up a whole lot of ground. Then you have Beaver. Beaver is definitely making up some ground. He is in a position to make a couple key passes and take this sprint. McLean running in 6th. He's done a good job of avoiding all the carnage so far. Behind him, Lieutenant Dan, who hasn't been able to get around a whole lot of traffic after getting slowed up. And now Littleton pulls into the pits, and Biker Pilot has had an issue. He is in the pits now. That moves Beaver up into 4th. Let's see what happens to Biker Pilot here. Oh, we've seen that happen before. Massive impact. Right in front of Bay, and Bay has to avoid him. Look at Biker. He's trying to stick as close to the wall as possible. It's out of the way before Tonlo comes around. So Beaver gets around Cannon Racer. Moves into 4th position. Now we have just behind them the battle for 6th. It's McLean and Lieutenant Dan. See if Dan tries to make a move through the mountain section. He's keeping up pretty well with Beaver at the moment, but he's got to get around this traffic just as fast as Beaver does, and that may mean making a pass through the mountain section. Go around turn 9 into turn 10 as we approach Skyline, and he may be about to do it. He's looking left. And yeah, it looks like McLean is gonna back out. No, they're side by side through the dipper. And he forces McLean out of position there. Wow. You can definitely feel the urgency from him. With Beaver around Cannon Racer now, that is a 4.7 second gap between Beaver and Dan. And Beaver is 2.5 seconds behind Nicolator. Quite a gap, but definitely not insurmountable, especially not over the course of 22 minutes. We've had a couple of incidents. Black Bob has crashed. Let's see what's happened to him. Coming around this really fast corner. He had trouble here last lap. It caused Tonlo to crash, and now he goes all the way around and destroys that car. Littleton has also crashed. We're going to take a look at that. He had just come out of the pits, actually. This is up into turn 4, just the start of the mountain section, and spins it. No damage, though. He is able to continue on here, but has to do a little K-turn. Lots of shakeups in the field. We have finally started to calm down, spread out a little bit with 21 minutes to go in this one. It's now a matter of how much of a gap can the Stig maintain on the rest of the field. Got a pristine Huracan there. It's now put another half second between him and AJ. A 1.4 second gap, almost 1.5 seconds. Let's see what the gap overall is to Beaver here. It's 6.5 seconds. We're going to leave the gap on the screen for a little bit here, as we're mostly trying to track Beaver and Dan's progress through the field, as they showed a lot of pace in the first sprint. They may have the best chance of catching the Stig, as it doesn't appear that AJ is going to, and Nicolator is not gaining any ground at the moment either. Cannon Racer is slipping back to Dan. That's less than a second gap there. And no real other close battles on the track at the moment. 13 cars currently on the racing surface. Nobody a lap down, though Biker Pilot is quite a ways back. We'll jump to the battle for 9th here. Bay is currently in 9th, but you have the damaged Lamborghini of Tonlo behind him in the slipstream. Can he finish him off going into this final little chicane? Oh, side by side. Bay's not giving up so easily. Hops the curb. Still side by side. They may have touched a little bit, but it's going to be Tonlo who takes the position. Bay also with a little bit of damage there. Is Tonlo now up into 9th. And the Stig continues to open up a gap on AJ, but his gap overall on Beaver has shrunk to just 6 seconds now. And it continues to shrink at an alarming rate. The Stig's going to have to hope that Nicolator and AJ hold each other up. Nicolator and Beaver, I believe they are still on the same team over on the oval side. So perhaps a little bit of friendliness there. He might let Beaver by, or we could see him put up a fight. Be great to see Nicolator try and hold up Beaver as long as possible. See Stig or AJ come away with a solid finish here. Let's take a look at those two. Nicolator in the purple and green Mercedes here. They come down through the dipper. Beaver makes that gap ever closer. Let's go on board with Beaver here as he approaches Nicolator. And looks like Nicolator's going to defend left, but Beaver may be able to completely clear him coming down the straights. And he does. Not even a challenge. That is not what AJ and the Stig want to see. Beaver gains 0.6 of a second on the leader during that lap, and on top of that, gains a position. Oh, and he actually, over the course of that lap, he gains almost 0.7 of a second. And we had an issue with McPlane. He has gained some damage to that number 513 car. That has brought Tonlo and Bay closer to him and given Bob Nova a position. Oh, he just loses control of the car. Completely off track. Pretty dangerous incident there. Let's go on board with Bob here through this crash. He just misses the apex. Tries to turn in too hard. Finish. Get back to the apex and just can't do it. He now is in 8th. Bob Nova flips up in 7th after that. Let's check in on Nicolator here. Dan, something has happened to Dan because he has slid way further back. I'm not sure if Beaver and Nicolator were just that much faster. I'm not seeing an incident that involved Dan, but wow, has he lost a whole lot of time. Beaver's now gained another second on the leaders, and we're not even all the way through this lap. He is on pace to catch these guys well before the 20-minute mark of this race. AJ and the Stig are definitely going to have to put up a fight in this one. They want to hold on to 2nd and 1st. McPlane is now defending 8th from Tonlo, both with damaged vehicles. Tonlo has a little bit more pace. Let's see if he's able to close the gap here through the final couple of corners. Oh, what happened there? It looked like Tonlo just overshot the corner. Takes them both out. Another incident in that corner from McPlane. Tonlo is going to go ahead and it looks like retire. We're going to have to see what happened there. That was shocking. The corner, I mean, it doesn't look like Tonlo's braking. He just goes straight on. Let's take another look on board with Tonlo. He is braking. Perhaps McPlane just broke way earlier than usual. It may have been a combination of both, but either way, both of them are now well out of contention. Oh, nope, that's not the Stig. It's AJ. Beaver has caught AJ. They're both 3 seconds off the leader. Still 14 seconds to go, or 14 minutes to go in this race. AJ's a little bit of front right damage, a lot of it. That could harm him in the draft here. And Beaver will probably get by completely uncontested going down this straightaway, same as he did to Nicolator. Let's see. Flashing him, going right. And I do think he's going to completely clear him. Another uncontested pass for Beaver. So fast down the straights compared to these competitors. It's making it easy for him. He's not having to lose any time behind them. Sitting behind them on the mountain straight. Jeremy Littleton has gone off track again, and now heavy damage to that car. That gives Black Bob a position here. Let's see what happened to Littleton here. Whoa, loses it on that high-speed corner. Directly into the wall. Heavy damage to that Ferrari. Most likely done for the day in terms of competing. Still dragging it around the track. And AJ has not given up yet. He is still right on Beaver's tail. Could give him a little bit of trouble, but he does still have that damage. We'll see how well his pace keeps up with Beaver through the mountain section. That will be the real key here. Dan has finally caught up to Nicolator. He's 0.7 of a second back. And Bob Nova has come up to the rear end of Cannon Racer. This will be a battle for 6th. Both of their cars look fairly clean. Cannon Racer might have a little bit of front right end damage. Back at Beaver coming down here through Skyline and then Dipper. That gap is now 2.7 seconds. Maybe not on pace to catch him before 20 minutes, but it'll definitely be before the end of the race. And now Bay has had an issue. Bay has crashed and gone to the pits, and that gives a couple of positions. Actually, he was already at the back of the field. I'm not sure that actually benefits anybody. Littleton is now in the pits as well. He would have been the one that would have benefited this corner again. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to pull off here. He may have just been so far off the pace. He went ahead and parked it. Rough start to the race for Bay. Rough day overall. And Bob Nova has gotten past Cannon Racer going down the back stretch. Let's take a look at that real quick. And this is going to be very similar to the pass MBR just made. Put in a little bit of effort going into turn 20. By the time they hit the chicane, well and clearly Bob's position. Another solid run by Bob, keeping it clean, gaining positions off of others' mistakes, and having solid pace. An all-around good recipe to have a top 7, top 6 finish like this. Stig, 2.2 seconds ahead of MBR now. We're going to go on board with Beaver as he chases the Stig through the mountain section. We'll go to the gyro cam and see what Beaver's up to in there. And we're going to have to jump out of this camera because AJ has just crashed, giving the 3rd position to Nicolator, and now Dan is coming up on him fast. There is, oh, that car is absolutely destroyed. Front end damage, rear end damage. And he's going to end up holding up Dan a little bit here. Definitely going to give him some dirty arrow as they come up to Forest Elbow, leading on to the final straightaway on the track. He's got so much damage. Dan might be able to catch him right here coming down the straightaway just due to all the bad arrow that AJ has. Look at that interval drop. 3/10, 2/10, 1/10. Dan going to the right, and he has already cleared AJ. Dan into 4th, and he is now 3 seconds behind Nicolator. Let's go see what happened to AJ that put him in this position. Whoa, a little wide there. Has to readjust for the next corner. Oh, and we've seen a couple people hit that wall. He barely grazes it, and that's the real killer. Backing up into that wall, doing huge damage to his rear wing. Nicolator goes flying by him. Let's go on board with Nicolator here, because this may have come up on him really quick. So at this point, AJ is spinning and has crashed. Get a little puff of smoke, and then, oh man, he's on the apex. That is scary. That's the thing, you know, he barely throws you off, and you have a big problem. Just over 8 minutes left in this one, and the gap between the Stig and Beaver has narrowed to 1.3 seconds. This is a very, if you are the Stig, this is a sweaty race. You are just watching that interval drop turn by turn, lap by lap. You can see him in the rear view mirror now. It's less than a second gap. This is what he has seen from the rear end of that car. Oh, that is just terrifying. Now down to 0.7 of a second gap. Coming onto the straightaway, Beaver is going to get a very nice bit of slipstream here. Let's watch that interval drop. 0.7. Now 6.5. They're a little over halfway down the straightaway, and he gains a full 10th on him as they come up into the chase. By the time they reach the end of the straightaway, that is a 0.2 of a second gain. Beaver will have a shot at him on this lap. And as they come across the line, 7 minutes left. That means there's probably 4 laps left. 4 laps to defend Beaver. That is going to be a tall order. He goes defensive down the straightaway, breaks the slipstream. Bob Nova just passed AJ for 5th position as AJ continues to try and limp that damaged car around the circuit. The Stig and Beaver going down the front straightaway. Beaver right on his rear. He's going to look right, and Stig is not going to defend. He's going to hold the high line. I think that's a mistake. Not a whole lot of grip out there. It is Beaver into the lead. And he is trying to go for the sweep. Back-to-back victories in these sprints. Starting 12th, he has worked his way all the way back up in just 24 minutes. And that number 10 McLaren is back up front. And a fun fact about this, Beaver is the only McLaren in the entire field. You can see the cars everyone's driving here. Pretty diverse. Lots of Mercedes, though most of the Mercedes are out. The one Porsche in the race has just had a little incident. That is Biker Pilot. And we'll take a look at him real quick. Still on the track. Actually, whoa, he's giving a little bit of trouble there to Cannon Racer. Biker Pilot was already a lap down. Let's go see what happened to him. Oh, and he gets squirrely out of that corner. And again, Nicolator has a little brown pants moment. Coming around a corner and seeing a car parked right there on the circuit. We'll jump back to the battle for the lead. These two just came off the back stretch. So if the Stig was going to have any sort of challenge for Beaver, the slipstream would have benefited him there, but he's losing so much time in the mountain section. It's just not helping. And I believe Beaver's not running a very high downforce setup. He has so much speed coming down these straights. Look at this interval right here. Look at how that is barely changing for the Stig. It was about 8.5 tenths when they came around the first corner. Still 8.5 tenths when they get to the second corner. The McLaren just has so much pace down those straightaways. It is wild. You're a Beaver in this game. This is very much a cruise to victory type of situation. Keep it on track. Keep it clean. Got more pace than the Stig. Don't make a mistake. Don't let him back into it. And you've got yourself a clean sweep of both sprint races. This is where he's going to really put on the time. You see he gains a half second through that section right there alone. AJ still limping that car around the track. He is now facing a challenge from Cannon Racer. It would have happened earlier, but Cannon Racer had a little bit of an issue getting around Biker Pilot after his crash. Now in 8 tenths, 9 tenths. Whoa, AJ put quite a bit of time on him through that section. But AJ has so much damaged aero. We're going to watch this gap really drop down the straightaway. Look at this. They were almost a second apart. Now Cannon Racer has gained half a second on him. 7 tenths of a second on him. He's going to be right up to him. He might actually pass him here. AJ really squeezes him down onto that curb, not giving him any room as they come around to turn 21. Cannon Racer has to back out, but he will probably get him on the next straightaway. Littleton has just passed Biker Pilot for 10th. Nice little position gain for the 619 car. Stig is now 2.2 seconds back from Beaver. This is Beaver's race to lose at this point. Let's see if Cannon Racer can get the job done on AJ here for 6th. Mercedes versus Mercedes down the front stretch. He's looking right. We keep seeing these guys not defend the right side here. I really think that's a mistake. Although there really wasn't a chance for AJ there. Cannon clears him completely before the corner, but there's not a whole lot of grip on the left side of Griffin's Bend. Really seems to me, I'm sure it's difficult, but I really think the preferred line there is the inside line. Force your opponent to the outside. Jumping to the battle for third, this is Nicolator trying to hold on to a podium spot. Lieutenant Dan is on his rear end, 0.5 of a second behind him. Coming around Forrest's elbow onto the back stretch. Dan's going to have a slipstream. Let's see if he can get onto the podium right here. Beaver's going to come around and get the white flag, so it's now or never. Side by side, heading into the chase. And I think he's going to clear him. That is third for Dan. And Beaver gets the white flag as he comes down and crosses the start finish. And Nicolator actually gets back past Dan here. Not sure if Dan made a little mistake that let Dan get by him. I think he was defending into the final corner, but now they're going to go down the front stretch side by side. And let's see if Nicolator can get a little crossover here, a better run off the corner. He'll have some slipstream. He has a little bit of damage. Let's see if it's affecting his arrow. He is gaining a little bit. Not sure it's going to be enough. Coming up, and we're seeing Dan defend the inside here. This is what I was talking about. And Nicolator goes really wide there. He didn't even have to. And he's going to lose a lot of time there. And I think that is going to be it for that position. Great pass and great defense by Dan. Beaver now coming in through Skyline and the Dipper. It's a 9-second gap between him and the Stig. It's just no question at this point that he is going to win this race as he comes onto the back straightaway. Biker Pilot has had another issue, unfortunately. It's a rough day for him as he's 11th. Another little incident. Beaver down the back stretch. He was able to get around Tonlo in the first sprint and dominate the second half of that race. He was able to work his way through the carnage while Tonlo got caught up and get all the way up into first after starting in 12th. Coming around Forrest's elbow, it is Nick Beaver and the number 10 McLaren finishing the sweep at Bathurst. He wins both sprint races. A grand show of skill for Beaver. A great finish for the Stig, coming in second. He held off Beaver as long as he could. Still comes home with a podium. Very great performance from him. Dan secures the final podium spot, and then it's Nicolator in fourth. Bob Nova finishes in fifth. Great day from him. A fantastic job bringing home finishes top 6 in both sprints. Cannon Racer finishes 6th. AJ 7th. It might be 7th. He's pulling into the pits here. He does come across the finish line in 7th. It will be McPlane 8th. Black Bob 9th. Littleton 10th. Pilot 11th. And Bay will finish 12th. The rest of the drivers have retired. And now the leaders have all lined up here. A great showing for Beaver. This was just a fun race. This track produces some great racing in these cars. We saw it here today. The front stretches allow for some great overtakes. The mountains, great display of skill. Beaver took advantage of all of it, coming home with a victory in this preseason race. The final preseason race for the Sprint Series. There is one more coming up for the Endurance Series, and then we will finally be ready for the next season of the J2i series in both road and oval. These guys are all going to parade around, and well enough to them. Great job, all of them, to actually finish this race. We saw how many people the mountain section claimed, and whether they were running a high downforce setup or a low downforce setup, this was a difficult race for everybody. Survivors have a lot to celebrate, no matter where they finished. Especially these guys with clean cars. I see Beaver, Dan, and I think Bob all have clean cars throughout this one. They did not suffer any damage, didn't touch a wall. Rewarded for it with great finishes. And they're showing off a little bit here, and now, oh, they're all taking the jump, and they do clear the tire barrier. I did not realize what they were doing. Yes, they all take the jump, and it is very fittingly Beaver who does get across into pit lane, the victor here at Bathurst. Here are your results for today's race. Having a problem with the results screen here, but oh, hey, there's your results for today's race. It's Beaver winning the feature, the Stig in second, Dan third. Then you have Nick, Bob, Cannon, AJ, McPlane, Black Bob, and Littleton. Biker and Bay round out the cars that actually finished the race. Tonlo is the only car that started the race, second sprint, and did not finish it. Going back to the first heat, Beaver wins that one as well. Dan with the second place finish. Then it was Littleton, Tonlo, Bay, Bob, Black Bob, Nick Later, Biker Pilot, Cannon Racer, AJ, the Stig, McPlane, Stello, Erco, Artups, and Slug. Nick did not finish that race. He did not start that race. This one was great fun to watch. Bathurst always provides a ton of fun, and we saw all sorts of crazy things happen here today, from the inverted field, Tonlo and Beaver battling all through the first race, Beaver's 360. I sure do hope we come back here at some point in the future and make it a regular track, because this is fantastic racing for these G cars. From everyone here at J2i, I'd like to thank everyone for watching and wish everyone a good evening and a good night from Bathurst.